these days, yes. Yeah. No, the best deals are here at the Tap House for sure.
MAGA Ed tonight. Wait a minute.
Oh, what?
Oh.
Made you look.
I think we're live.
We're live, huh?
Are we live now?
We're live.
All right, welcome to Beer Buds and the Big Sky podcast. This week we got Tanya Horn from the Flathead Warming Center, and of course Mike Jopek and Ryan Hannon.
Hi, Tanya.
Hello.
Good to meet
How's it
you.
going, Tanya? We're pretty excited. You know, we don't get many conservatives or Christians on our show.
Yeah, mostly we have the heathen market cornered.
Yeah, we have that. We got the heathen liberals, you know, kind of addicted to the show, I guess.
Well, I hope to be your favorite conservative Christian by
Oh.
the time we're done here.
You already are.
Yes, we know.
I mean, come on, what the fuck? Oh,
Okay.
Oh.
Yep. Can I
Yeah.
explain? Wait. Let me explain.
Wait, they're like pie points or
Okay.
something, right?
So we have the cuss jar.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be like pie points.
Particularly the F-bomb. It takes a quarter, and it's the ones that were already in there. I watched the last podcast that you did.
Oh,
and
you
I
put them in for
counted
me?
your F-bombs.
Oh, there was
Yeah.
a lot.
So I already got you started.
Ed's in the red.
Wait,
yeah.
how many did you bring up?
I brought enough, maybe.
Yeah.
Like a whole roll?
I got backup. Yep, I do.
I think we're up to $14.25.
Laundry will have to wait, Ed.
Yeah, probably will. Yeah, especially in this town. $11 to do a load of laundry in Whitefish. There's only one laundromat. It's $11.
Come on down to the warming center. It's free.
No kidding.
How do you get ahead? You know, when you have town cities and people charging whatever they want for anything. I get it. It's free market. It's the only one they can charge what they want. But is it right? You know? I mean, it's weird to me. It just seems like, I don't know. I mean, we're here to make money. We're capitalists. It is what it is. But it does seem wrong that there's people struggling, and the only place they can do their laundry costs $11 just to wash. Then
Go
you have
dry.
to pay for the dry. Oh, it's hot out. You probably don't have to.
So that made me think of something when you said, how do you get in? I thought you were asking her how you get in the warming
The
center.
warming center.
Which made me think, how do you get in the warming center? Like if someone wants to go, is there an application? Do you just show up? Like how does it work? I think I know how it works, but
Well, it depends on the season, but we take people
Right.
as they are. That's very important. We're a low barrier facility. That means that we're going to take people in as they are to meet them where they're at, get to know them, and then learn what we can do to help them. We cannot help people who are out in the snow. We cannot help people if we're judging them at the door.
Right.
Bringing them inside starts the relationship. And everything that we do inside the warming center begins with that relationship.
How many clients do you guys have?
It depends on the season.
Yeah.
Right now we're in the warm weather season, so we're open 2 days a week. And we're seeing about 40 individuals during those 2 days.
So right now
Each day.
And
So
you help them
today,
shower,
we were
do
open
laundry.
today from noon to 7. And that's where folks can come in and do laundry, and they can shower. We offer a meal, and we also offer our roadmaps. That's the step-by-step plan to help them to move on to a better situation out of homelessness.
Who are your major donors that help you keep going?
yeah, that's a good question. How are you guys funded?
We are community funded.
Okay.
And that's one misconception that's out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
A lot of folks believe that we're funded by
My
tax
state,
dollars.
yeah, my tax dollars better not pay for this.
I thought it was
Yes.
George Soros.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, well, it's
It was in
not.
the big, beautiful bill, I think. That's where the funding was.
Okay, so
Yeah.
community funded through donations, fundraisers, things like that?
Donations, fundraisers, mainly local grants, but not through tax dollars.
No,
by
no.
the individual donors who believe in what we're doing and can see the benefit of how we're helping people.
We live in such a generous community. I mean, people are giving to these kind of things, right? You guys are getting help, and you obviously need more donations all the time because of the programs you're running and the service you're doing. But people do donate.
We are a
Except liberals. You're not getting any money from liberals, right?
That's not true.
Oh,
and I
okay.
would like to point out, we're going to talk a lot about liberal and conservative, but we are not a political organization.
nor you should
But
be.
unfortunately, politics has made us political.
Right.
And that's unfortunate.
Well, when they
because-
were looking at pulling your CUP, the social media banter, I found just disheartening. I found it just, it was horrible, like, I don't want my money going in for this, and you can people like, it's not going, like, how do you know that? Well, we all know. Look into it, research it. But people like to fly off the handle, and inherently there's people out there that don't want to help people. And I get that. That's their right, I mean, but it was, when that was leading up to that in this whole debate and how, they wanted you closed down, and we've had conservative Christian, Randy Brodell, Brad Abel, Pam Holmquist. They're all conservative Christians as far as I know, but none of them want that warming center.
Christian, conservative, Republican, in that order.
That's right.
Yeah.
First, yes. So, I mean, it just seems that, like I said, you're going to have haters out there, but these people should be able to look at it realistically. And like we talked to Ryan Hunter a couple weeks ago, and he knew that there's no way the city was going to win that lawsuit, and I think you knew that too,
I think a lot of people knew that.
Yeah, I suppose.
It got out of control.
It did. That's what I'm saying, I
And
guess.
It got out of control because there's a shift within our community, and not just within our community, within our society. The shift is that someone has to deserve or they have to earn compassion.
Yes.
And those who
Yes,
are
like-
giving compassion freely are enabling people. And that is the shift that has happened. And I think it is very much fear-driven.
Yeah.
It's fear-driven because we believe that we don't want to be like the big cities.
Right.
And so we should just shut this down because when we enable people, that means more people are going to want to come here and
Right.
take advantage of us. And that's very unfortunate because at the end of the day, I don't believe that we are not a compassionate community.
I think you
We
said
really
90%
are.
of your guests are local.
Yes.
And another fallacy out there is that these people are networked and they're getting on their cell phones and they find out there's a free lunch in Kalispell, so they're all traveling here. That was an argument, a
It's
horrible
absurd.
argument.
Yeah,
It's
that was Brad.
absurd, Was that Brad or
That
Randy?
was Brad, I think, that said. or
Fear-driven.
Randy or-
Fear-driven.
Again,
Absolutely.
most of our politics
Is that
are
beer
fear-driven.
drinking or fear driven?
Beer drinking or fear drinking. It could be beer drinking on Brad's part.
But like you said, you're open from 2 to 7. So do people
12
leave
to
at 7?
12 to 7 in the summertime, yes.
So people aren't sleeping there in the summertime?
No.
Because people think homeless shelter and they think you go in, you get a bed, and they just kind of lay around and they sleep there and
They're
whenever they want
thinking
to
a
leave.
resort.
Right.
And we are a last resort.
Yeah.
And if you haven't
seen
been
it.
there, I want to invite you or anyone who's watching to come
Yeah.
to tour because
Yeah.
we're talking a bunk room. We used to be a mechanic's garage.
Okay.
So if
Yeah, I
you
used
could
my
kind of
tires there,
picture
used
that,
ones.
we are remodeled to have added showers. That's in bathrooms. It used to be porta potties inside that we vented outside.
Okay.
But the bunk room is a room. Everyone sleeps together in a room in their individual bunks on plastic mats. This is not a resort by any means.
And that's the wintertime.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how often would you say throughout, like what people are spending the night, how many months out of the year you think?
Well, we open October 10th, which is World Homeless Day,
Oh.
and we go through the end of April.
Okay.
And a person can stay. It's their behavior that determines their stay because
Sure.
we have expectations, we have
Sure.
rules that they have to follow, and it's their behavior. And if they can follow those rules, and if they need us, and if there is enough room,
Right.
because we have 50 beds and we do fill up, then that individual can stay every night. And that's really what we prefer because those are the folks that have more consistencies where we can help them.
Right. You can build momentum that way and, eventually get out on your own again.
Yes.
Get out on your own again and, pay that $2,000 a month rent.
That's the thing.
Right.
I
I
mean,
know.
You
How do you
know,
get
I
out?
mean,
I don't even
How
know.
Holy
how do
cow.
do you see people that leave that find some success and they find housing and they find jobs and are you helping them find places to live at all or?
Absolutely, and that's why I wanted my left hand and right hand employees to help,
Right.
because they really get to know our guests, help them take that very first step and the next step. So we had a great success. We had a push in the last 100 nights. We're pushing all season long, but in the
Right.
last 100 nights, pushing people as a countdown, and we were able to see many people either get into treatment. That's the goal for a lot of our folks.
Right.
Or to get into housing,
Right.
To get into a better situation. And we've seen a lot of success.
Now, do you guys still work with, is it the CAP program? Is that the
Community
Community
Action Partnership.
Community Action Partnership.
Yes.
So that's a program that you can take advantage of here in the Flathead Valley that will help people get housing. So it's
Okay.
kind of
Yes.
like,
Okay.
because it does seem overwhelming where you end up in a place, you lose everything, right?
Yeah.
Like I have clients that I deal with it all the time where something horrific happens. They lose their job, their wife and 2 kids die in a car accident, and they lose themselves into drugs and alcohol.
Yep.
And they spend 5-10 years spiraling out, and then eventually they have to, pick up all the pieces.
Yeah.
And it's like, where do you even begin? It's all, I can't even imagine how overwhelming it would be. So the warming center plays a part in that, where you can get back on your feet, you can take a shower, you can use the community action partnership. I know the PAC team is still kind of the PAC team. I'm not sure. There's a lot of acronyms.
Right.
I work with Jenny Ball, who I'm sure you know, and she's like every third word is an acronym with the CAP program and the PAC team. And
PATH.
And PATH.
So what we do is we bring those resources inside the warming center.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's very important. It's very hard to say, if you need an ID, you need to go over there. If you need a mental health help, you need to go over there. If you need a job, you need to go over there. You need to wait in a waiting room that you don't know where it's
Right.
at. You don't have a relationship with those folks, and you have to fill out their paperwork. The idea
Yeah.
is to bring the resources where the people are so that you can start that relationship, and then you're more likely to go to their office and those services to be more productive.
Make it easy as you can on them.
And there's so much paperwork.
I'm sure.
Oh my God, is there paperwork?
Really?
Oh, and so
Oh,
much
my
more
Lord, there's
paperwork
paperwork.
coming up.
And it's like,
So-
because if you go to jail, which a lot of my clients go to jail,
Right.
and you spend more than 30 days in jail, your Medicaid gets shut off.
Oh yeah.
So getting that turned back on is,
boy.
the social worker that works for my office, Jenny, spends an inordinate amount of time just waiting on hold with the people on Medicaid
Well,
for
when you
4,
talk
5,
about-
6 hours at a time.
You
Oh
talk
yeah,
about-
and wait till they start doing this new stuff, feds, with the work requirements. I mean, people have to call in and get their work permit put in
Oh, yeah.
every month.
That's
and
right.
you wonder what the feds are doing. I mean, folks like you are paying your W-2s, whatever. They know who's employed.
They
know
do.
exactly who's paying taxes and who's not paying taxes. I mean, you have the thought that you have to fill out paperwork every month to keep your Medicaid.
Well,
Oh,
you know
my
what?
God.
Somehow, when you say it's weird. I mean, you look at all this, the bureaucracy involved in all of it. I mean, you're talking about, if somebody needs mental health, well, you're going to point them in the right way, but they don't have money. So I'm assuming there is funds out there for people, and I don't know, like, how do they get the money to see a mental health professional? Do you guys have like freelance, or are people donating time?
Excuse me. That's part of the roadmap process. So we'll have someone sit with them, and if that's something that they need, that we help them with that. It's also part of our resource link, where we bring Greater Valley Health into the warming center, and they have an individual that sits with them at a computer and helps them to
Okay.
navigate Medicaid, because you do have to have that. And what we have
Yeah.
to do is we have to make sure someone is active
Yeah.
and keep working with them, because we don't know when that window of time is,
Yeah.
when they're ready for that next step. And making sure that they have Medicaid is very, very important.
So you said roadmap process. Is that kind of an internal procedure that you guys have? Like when someone comes in, it's like kind of, I think of it as like a flow chart. Like you are here at the warming center, you want to get here, yes,
Yeah.
go here, no, go here.
It's a long road from homelessness to home. And it takes someone walking along beside you to make it
Right.
successful. And that's what our roadmap process is. It's a step-by-step. Every 7 nights, they meet with our staff to take that next step and to know what their assignment is for the next week and how
Right.
help them to navigate homelessness.
When you say a long time, are you talking months, weeks, half a year? Just perspective, and also like, is it a steady list of new clients always coming? You must be like working people through the map system, roadmap system, and so there's like a steady need, and it seems like that need's going to keep growing with what the feds are doing with the cuts to services and stuff and the cost of housing that's just going through the damn roof.
Yeah, it's not really
it
going
seems
down.
like there's going to be more and more need.
Right.
This last winter, we served 300 and, hold on, forgot my numbers. 315 individuals came
Wow.
through the warming
Wow.
center.
In what period of time? Just the winter, 3 months?
Yes. No. Just the winter being our winter season, October 10th to the end of April.
To the end of
Okay.
April.
Wow. So do you guys have any plans in the future for expanding or anything like that? Does that ever come into the conversation?
That is so important. If you come to the warming center, you'll see we don't have room.
No, you don't.
We don't have room to do the roadmaps or the links and all the things that we're trying to do to help
Yeah.
people to get out of homelessness. So absolutely, we do need to expand.
I gotta ask.
The whole city process kind of set that back some.
Right.
There were a lot of misconceptions talked about through that process.
I
Like
heard-
we were going to add 300 beds. We were going to add 200 beds, and none of that was even part of
Right.
our vision. It just again stirred that anger.
I heard the craziest stuff about the warming center when the whole lawsuit was going on. At one point, I was reading on, I think it was Flathead 411 or something.
Oh, that's a good one.
And they were talking about how this was all just a plot by the city. It was a big pump and dump real estate scheme. They were feeding all these homeless people to the warming center to devalue the property around it so they could swoop in, buy it for cheap, and then clean out all the homeless people by getting rid of the CUP
Ooh.
and then jacking up the prices.
That's a good plan.
Well, it's also the plot to Police Academy 6, A City Under Siege, if you've ever seen that movie. That's what I thought of. I was like, wait a minute, I've seen this movie. This was Police Academy 6.
You would see that.
So, but
Liberals are so bad
yeah,
at
you can hear, you can
conspiracies.
say tonight
They are
this
bad.
was not a pump and dump real estate scheme, the warming center.
Absolutely not. It is
Damn it.
funded by compassion. It is based upon compassion.
Fuck, I thought Tanya was going to
There's
win some money.
no conspiracy
There we
behind
go.
what we're doing. Thank you.
But it does make people, it really makes people kind of crazy when you start talking about homelessness and homeless shelters, because there's a lot of people have this deep-seated, they just feel like they're getting something for free, or they could
Okay.
be working. You know, I pay my car insurance. Why
I don't
can't
know. I'm
they?
feeling the other way. You know, every time I'm leaving blows down there, and there's not that guy in there anymore panhandling.
Hey.
I'm like, oh, can I do it, or is it a fine now? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Kalispell wants a couple $100 if I,
I
give
know,
him
right?
$5.
Yeah.
You know.
But, and this is my experience only. My conservative friends, they don't like it. They don't.
hate it.
They just do not like it. And for the most part, they're Christian as well. And I think you told me a while ago, it's like kind of hard to believe that, if you're a Christian, you kind of inherently should want to help people, And I think it's funny that, Jesus was a liberal
Well, there was
too,
that one
and,
guy in the New Testament that talked a lot
Yeah,
about
that-
that.
yeah, I don't
His
think he
name
matters.
is escaping me.
Well,
but-
I think it's when it's convenient, and this is what I'm finding. And it kind of makes me feel that liberals get a horrible rap. I get it, and I mean, they're the demon, and people fear liberals because they want to turn everybody gay. They want to take everybody's guns away.
That's
and,
true.
and
That's
it's
true,
all
too.
bullshit. But it's all it's this fear mongering. It's spreading the hate. It's getting people just to turn against each other, and you see that. And I'm glad and I'm grateful somebody like you, with that background,
Yes.
is doing what you do. Because it says an awful lot about you, and it says about, compassion and how people should be. And I'm not saying that every Democrat or liberal in the world would want to run a homeless center or be involved or anything, but in my experience, they're the people that mostly seem to care about these people, just in my experience, And obviously I'm in a bubble in Whitefish, so I see a lot of that,
Right.
But it's just, you have this war going on, and as a conservative, I think there's a lot of things that we'd like you to weigh in on, and there's a lot of statistics and facts out there that, I kind of go off on these rants about things that are happening, and there's stats and then there's dreams, and I see both sides having a lot of dreams and lying a lot about everybody. But I think we talked about last year, job creation, and the facts are Democrats have created more. That's just the way it is. It's not. I'm not saying it. I think.
well, they
like
inherit
Texas,
those Republican administrations. From
so if
years before.
most people think Texas is, that's where all the rich people live, the conservative billionaires, they've got all this money. They actually took $71 billion from the federal government. California gave $81 billion.
Right.
But I think most conservatives wouldn't, even though that's a real stat, they're still going to call California the welfare state. Now, you can call
There's a question in here somewhere.
yeah, well, it's a debate. It's a debate because, this is something that I think it is important that
I agree.
people know that, hey, stop getting us to hate each other. And I know a lot of people don't care about facts and don't care about these things. But, the warming center was a great thing in our valley. Like, you'd say, okay, California's a shithole. We don't want to turn into it. Well, then what the fuck are you doing about it? I mean, what are you doing about it? You're not helping with housing at all. And when housing prices go up and rent goes up, crime and homelessness go up too. There's no fucking way around. That's 50 cents.
Yeah.
No way around it. There's no way.
It's cheaper to live in San Francisco than it is in Whitefish.
I know. It is nuts. It's nuts. But it is going to get worse here. And what are our elected officials doing to help this problem? I didn't see anything come out of the legislature that would make anything easier. I remember in the big, beautiful bill, they wanted to solve public lands for housing. I mean, at least that didn't get put in there, you know. But you know, how do you put any rationale towards this where, you know, people are going to believe what they want no matter what, and they're going to believe that homeless people are coming here from other places because they're getting this free ride, and you know, it's just they're lazy.
But you're not going to convince everybody. You
You're
know,
not.
we're back
You're
to
not.
that thing where you're just not going to convince that 25% down there. You know?
I mean, do you guys even work with the city or the county commissioners that often? Do you really even hear from them that much?
We don't, and a lot that we're making those decisions. I've never even been to the warming center.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Yeah, you've mentioned that in the
Yeah.
past.
No, we don't get any funding from the city or
Yeah.
from the county.
Which is probably a good thing because they can't tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well,
You know? But they can try. They can try.
And then lose in court. Because, yeah, I remember looking at your website and, you know, seeing the, you know, privately funded and, you know, nonprofit and all that. And I was like, oh, yeah, they don't really. This was after I was reading about, you know, Police Academy 6. I was being like, well, it must be hand in glove with the city. That's what I thought. I thought it was, you know, taxpayer money, but it turned out to be completely the opposite. So I think that's a big hurdle you guys face, is I think a lot of people just assume that the warming center in Kalispell is a 365 days a year. People come in, they can sleep, they can do whatever they want, and it's all funded by John Q. taxpayer.
Those are the detention centers that
Right,
the
we call that
administration-
jail. Yeah.
there are a lot of misconceptions out there, and you're absolutely right. We're not going to convince everyone.
Yeah.
It's impossible to. Some people are just stuck in what they want to believe.
Mm-hmm.
I just continue to challenge people to reach out and to come and learn. Before you make your judgment, come and learn.
Right.
We've always had an open door.
Yeah.
Right now in our bunk room, because we don't have people there overnight, we have what is called a self-guided impact tour. And so what would happen if someone from our community were to come in and visit, they could just take their time in the bunk room by themselves, walking around the bunks, and there's stories on each bunk.
Yeah.
There is the statistics on each bunk, and being there gives the truth more so than what you're going to get
Yeah.
on Flathead 411.
Yeah.
If that's where you're going for your facts,
Oh,
then
there's a
something
lot of
is
those there.
really, really wrong.
I got to stay off that website.
Nothing but trouble there for you, Ryan.
Right.
But there's a lot of Trump memes. Lots of them.
Yeah,
You know,
there's
there
a lot
really
of
is.
them. There's a lot of them.
But so folks can come in when it's too hot, right? They can come in for air conditioning.
Oh, yeah. So, and what's the reasoning behind? I mean, because it's summer and it's warm. So, you know, if they have to sleep outside, they do. And I'm sure for you, you're so staffed in the winter that it'd be hard to do this.
I would think nationwide heat may kill more people than cold.
Oh, yeah, but not here. You know.
Yeah, not here, but I don't know.
But our services with that relationship piece is year-round.
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
yeah.
that's very important because someone can work
Especially a shower and do
steadily.
your wash.
They can work steadily all winter long and still not have the outcome of housing.
Oh, yeah.
It takes a long time.
Yep, you're right.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, minimum wage. You can't even pay rent on minimum wage.
No,
I mean,
you can't.
100% of your minimum wage won't pay rent.
Yeah,
You got to
that's-
make 20 some bucks an hour just to live in probably the cheapest place, you know. I mean, it is, I don't know. I mean,
Well, I will say Kalispell is burying Whitefish in terms of units built. I mean, they are building a lot of units in
Yeah.
Kalispell. Well, you know, Whitefish, they send it to committee, and then it comes out. The planning board denies it. They send it back.
and then NIMBYs come.
goes on and
It
complain.
has to go to the
on.
architecture committee, and
Yes,
let's go to the
my
park board.
Good gracious,
I
yeah.
think what we're missing is that we have to have housing for everyone. And that doesn't just mean the number of housing. It means the
Right.
right kind of housing for people. And the people who struggle the most are not going to be able to get to these places that we're building, or not
Oh,
going to
no.
be able to be successful even if they got in those places. We don't have the different kinds of housing that people need.
Right, because your apartments, all these new ones, I mean, they're pretty expensive, you know, from what I've
Expensive.
looked, you know, really expensive.
When I was on council, what they'd always say was, you know, because we drafted the inclusionary zoning,
Yeah.
where it was like if you had 10 units, 2 of them had to be affordable. You
Yep.
know, and you know
That makes so much sense.
we all thought it was easy. It's just raise the prices on the other 8 to make up for the money you're losing on the other 2. But every contractor would
Oh,
always
yeah,
tell
no.
us that's not going to pencil. That's not going to pencil.
Well, of course, they're out to make as much money as they can.
Whose pencil we talking here? My pencil looks great.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a great point. Another question I had about the warming center is, what does the police presence look like around the warming center? Because that was another thing that I heard when the lawsuit was blowing up, was just that, like, 24 hours a day, there's just lights and sirens and,
Oh, yeah.
people are constantly getting arrested and hauled off.
Not at all, not at all. There are times that we call the police, but
Sure.
there are also times that the police bring people to us. We save beds
Yeah.
for first responders when they find someone in the middle of the night that doesn't have a place.
Right.
So we are open as a resource for law enforcement. There could be lots of reasons why law enforcement is there. And in fact, I would like them to be there all the time, building relationships with folks.
Yeah.
So that when there is those crisis times.
Cops don't seem to do that anymore.
Whether
Right.
it be at the warming center or whether it be at a park or wherever, that having a relationship is going to make things go in a
Right.
better direction.
Right.
It would be nice to have police on the street.
That is
Yeah.
one of my
Not
that-
behind the camera in the office, on the street,
That's one of
meeting
my
the people.
my gripes with modern law enforcement is, you used to have, Officer O'Sullivan walking the street swinging his billy club and going, "Hey Billy, how's that math test last week? B+, good job," and then popping into the drugstore saying hi.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember
And now
back
they
Those
just,
days are gone.
Those days are long gone.
Back in the day, Lonnie'd stop by and say, "Need a ride home?"
Yeah, exactly.
We
Lonnie
do
was
have a
good.
few officers that know our guests by name. Yeah. There are a few really good ones.
Well, without a doubt, there always is. I mean,
Any thought of expanding the warming center into Whitefish? That's another thing that people like to
everybody
say.
says to bring it here.
That's another thing conservatives loves to say. It's someone who grew up here is, Whitefish. They love the homeless so much. Why don't you open a homeless center here? I say that sounds great. There's got to be room for it somewhere.
I think we zoned out trailer parks. So.
I know.
I
That's the
think
thing.
it's a common. I mean, I get it. You see, there's definitely your conservative base in Kalispell that is saying that. Why isn't it in Whitefish? Why isn't it in Whitefish? Whitefish fish people are all defending this warming center and this. It's like, okay, for one, I mean, I could care less if it's here or not, but this is not centrally located at all.
There's some nice places on the lake. I think we could
Well,
throw
yeah,
up
the-
the second
They're
warming
vacant
center.
I'm all
probably
for
like
it.
50 weeks out of the year.
I know. They'd have to leave for 2 weeks on July 4th. That's about it. But I think it makes sense to have something centrally located. We don't have a great public transportation system, and when we do it, what we do have is they switched it from being able to pay $1 cash to you have to have an app on your cell phone. Not a lot of homeless people have cell phones. That's kind of, to me, that was a slap in the face. Remember when they did that with
to take the bus?
To take the bus, you have to have an app. You
They
can't
did
just
that in
give
the
them $1.
Flathead?
Yeah.
That
They
is-
did it last year.
That's clearly to weed out the homeless.
It's clearly to weed out the homeless. But the thing is, you're never going to weed them out. Like I said, California is the same way.
They're
They have a lot of
here.
homeless people.
They're queer.
It's expensive.
Get used to it.
Yeah. And they like beer.
No, and that's and it's like what always drove me nuts is someone, who grew up here and who grew up Catholic, and my whole family is Catholic, and I went through the whole thing. I was First Communion, I was confirmed Catholic, but everyone in my immediate and extended family, they all hate the homeless. And I've been asking these same questions since I was 13 years old, just being like, I don't know, I go to religious education every Wednesday night, and there's this guy in this book named Jesus, and it seems to me like he washes their feet and stuff. So I go on Sunday, and all the people I hear them talking before and after church doesn't sound like they like the homeless or charity too much. Kind of what turned me off from the church. It just reeks of hypocrisy. But it is nice to see someone who calls themselves, a conservative Christian who is able, to give back to the homeless.
And I get to see that side of what you're talking about, of the Christian, the Christ followers, really stepping up. I think that we need to be more vocal. We need to be more vocal because it's the negativity vocal that's winning. And that's a shame because there is still that.
Well, I remember a few years ago when we had all that flooding in Houston, and it took the mega preacher Joel Osteen, however you say his name.
Yeah.
Remember
Joel Osteen.
They bullied him into opening his mega church because there were 50,000
flooding,
people
hurricane
displaced.
people, yeah.
And it's like it shouldn't have had to take 2 to 3 weeks for him to open his doors to the homeless.
No, but those people are icky,
No.
and he's a billionaire. And okay, there is a lot of hypocrisy. That it's obviously these people are doing it for money, and that's been my problem with religion, any kind of it. Doesn't matter what one. Since an early age, I went to a Catholic school till 3rd grade, and it scared the shit out of me. We had to go to church half the fucking day, every goddamn day of the week. Let's put this in here. And it scared me as a kid, and it bewildered me because these people were assholes for the most part. They were assholes. They didn't give a shit about people.
Old
And I'm like,
Testament's a vengeful God.
it seems like it, But anyway, you're going to have, good and bad with everything. I'm not, I can't just sit here and say religion is good. I think it's a great thing for an awful lot of people. But you have believers and you have, like, okay, this whole Epstein thing, we got to talk about it because it's out there, and Dan Bondingo, Gingo Bingo, is now mad, but this is what's weird to me about the conservative and the MAGA, because I say they're MAGA. They're not conservative. They're not Republican in my eyes. They're MAGA. This is a different breed of people.
Right.
They're not going to trust anything, and they don't trust anything, but now they trust there is no Epstein files.
Right.
And except for some of them. Some of them are really,
Some of them are downright
some of
mad.
them are like, what's going on here?
Tide
We
might
were
be
supposed to
turning
know
a little
everything.
bit.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean,
Well,
I think,
it's because Epstein's mom sent that note. Said, let Juan go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he's late for school again. It's signed Epstein's mom.
I mean, but how do you, in a society where we're completely unrealistic about almost everything anymore? We go back and forth on our beliefs. We're on that team, whatever team we're on, and what shifts elections and people's opinion is like the middle. That what Mike always says, 3.5%. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. But I mean, if you're having constant distractions thrown at you, we were talking about this today. We had a little meeting with Russell Cleveland. He's running against Ryan Zinke. He's a fairly conservative guy for being a Democrat, but he can't see himself aligning with the Republican Party anymore. He just can't. And I think I'm seeing that. And what do you think for conservatives, Tanya, in your opinion, what should they do? What like person that they feel like they've lost their way with this party?
Well, if the last election is any indication, nothing.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, you're right.
anything.
But they weren't going to vote for a black woman. There was no way.
Probably not.
They're just not.
That's a fair
and
point.
that's going to take a long time for America to be able to do something like that. And I'm not saying at all she's a great candidate, not at all.
Terrible.
But I also saw the writing on the wall with Donald Trump saying poor people are going to be really fucked over this.
Sorry,
guy.
I cut off your
All right.
question there, Tanya. Ed had a question I cut off.
Oh, what was your question? What? Yeah,
Need a bigger
I'm keeping it.
one,
I'm doing the best I can.
You had asked Tanya, in her opinion, what do conservatives who kind of feel like the party has lost its way, what do they need to do going forward to kind of, I don't know, come back into the sanity fold, I guess I would say?
I mean, it seems like there may be some waiting for it to become sane again, but I don't know if it's possible.
Well, it was a quote from the opposite side, but Reagan said, I didn't leave the Democrat Party. The Democrat
They
Party
left me.
me.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's exactly how I feel from the
About the
Republican
Republican Party.
Party. And I think there's lots of people on both sides, that could probably say that.
Yes.
I say we all need to come more to the middle and work more together. Everyone has their heels dug in what they think that they believe, and we're not going to get anywhere with our heels dug in.
I was surprised seeing you being the MC, if you will, for Ryan Hunter's election party, and I believe you said that. And you said, I'm not really a great public speaker, and then you did a great job for 10 minutes. You really did. I mean, and it hit people. People were really, they were in tune to what you were saying, and I was surprised. I'm like, what's Tanya doing here? I mean,
And that's the key point. It was Tanya. I wasn't representing the Warming
Right,
Center.
no, not at all.
It was definitely Tanya, but I was there to...
And Ryan's a good guy, is he not?
Speak to the fact that, yes, he is a good guy, he's a good candidate, and that whatever party people identify with, that they really need to look at leaders who do their research,
Yeah.
leaders who don't make their decision based upon emotion, and that is definitely Ryan Hunter.
Well, and you had a couple of city council members, including the mayor, that were not happy with that warming center at all. They wanted this lawsuit, and Ryan was in the background. Well, because he doesn't really have the hugest voice on that council, but saying, hey, this isn't going to work. We can't do this.
We're going to lose.
It's not out of him being compassionate.
He said they're going to lose.
It wasn't out of compassion. It was out of common sense.
Yeah.
But these guys were so blinded by, I think, their conservative Christian values that homeless people shouldn't be around here.
And look at what the judge said. I had to look this up and said, judge said nebulous and subjective.
Yes.
And I was like, what is
Nebulous.
that? That's not arbitrary and capricious. What's the difference, Ryan?
What is
nebulous
the
and
difference?
subjective?
Well, that's it. Essentially, that's all it means. He just didn't want to say arbitrary and capricious. He wanted to say nebulous and subjective. But what was the attorney's fee total in that case that the city had to pay? Was it $125 or was it $175?
It was very discounted. I think it was $140 or something
Yeah.
like that. But it was
Very
very
discounted.
discounted. It was
That's
a
nice of
part.
you.
It was a part of the mediation.
Yep.
Mediation was 13 hours long, And mediation was a very interesting process. I learned a lot through this whole
it's very
process.
interesting.
I bet
But
you did.
with mediation,
You
it's
caucus,
not
and
sitting
then you
down
leave,
at
yeah.
a table
No.
with. And that's what I wanted from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I wanted dialogue from the very
Yes.
beginning.
But
It
they
didn't-
don't do dialogue.
It didn't have to get to where it was. We wanted dialogue. And it still didn't happen even in mediation. In mediation, there's 2 different rooms, and the mediator goes between the two different rooms, and this went on for 13 hours.
Whoa, man.
Says
In a row.
there.
And it's not fulfilling.
No.
It really isn't. You don't leave a lawsuit or leave
No.
or leave a mediation fulfilled in any ways on either side.
Yep.
You really don't.
Mediation, you sit there alone in this room while the mediator's gone for, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes, and you're thinking, what the hell are they talking about over there? What is going on?
Yeah, what is
And then
going on?
they come back and they go, all right, here's what they're saying. And then you talk to them for an hour or so, and then they leave again. And yeah, it goes on all day. Takes forever.
What
But
has-
both parties end up leaving pretty unsatisfied.
Yes.
That's
have you-
well, but that's the telltale sign of a good mediator is both parties are unsatisfied.
But we left believing that that is what's best for our community.
Right.
Because this could have drug on, and then yes, it definitely would have been taxes
Well, and
at
it-
that point.
and it
A lot of
was.
taxes.
A lot,
if we
yeah.
had allowed it to drag on.
And it was arbitrary and capricious to pull the CUP. They had no basis to do it. It was subjective.
It was completely
I mean, it was like-
subjective.
Nebulous.
Just listening to the minutes from the council meetings, you could go, oh, this is thin. They don't
Yeah.
really have anything here.
And I think it's very good reading, and it is on our website. It's 40 pages by Judge Christensen, and he goes into great detail.
He's a Kalispell guy.
He's a Kalispell guy, absolutely. And he did his research as
Right.
well. He did his research even before we went to federal court.
Well, they've never pulled a CUP ever. Ever. I mean, there's some precedents there.
Had nothing
How
in,
they did not see that.
nothing in their code on how to do it.
Who was pressuring these guys? Was it just them? I mean, is it just the commissioners? Like, is it just their hollow or shallow being?
I think it was the public.
and the
I think a
public,
lot of the
like the
public.
public that voted for them.
And we don't know how many emails they got or
Right, you're right.
things like that.
All I know is it got very, very emotional.
Well, and nobody offered any other solutions. Here's what bothered me. I didn't hear Mark Johnson come up with a solution. I didn't hear our commissioners come up with a solution. Their solution was close it and put these homeless people in people's yards so they end up in jail more.
Yeah.
And
Right?
it's maybe it's not necessarily their job to come up with a solution, but it is their job to partner with people
Right.
to come up with solutions.
Yes.
But you guys
It should be.
have settled it down pretty good. I mean, because you're not in the press, you're not in the media as far as like.
Right,
there's
we
not
haven't
a
seen
contra-
much.
You haven't seen much,
Yeah.
and so it seems like it's working. Whatever the
Well, the
solution
people
you
lost. The
crafted,
tail's between their legs now. I
that's
think.
what it was.
I think
Yeah.
it is. I think the tail's between their legs. They lost. They're not going to get their way. So they better just forget about it. It's easier, I think, mentally on these people that hate the warming center and hate the homeless community. They're just now not forget. They know they
Yeah.
lost, and
Well,
there's no
Right.
no
And I
word.
think anyone observing would think that it was a lot of people that were upset because of the way
It
that it
seemed
was
that way.
structured during the meetings, having people come out. It could feel like it was a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a lot of people. And it definitely wasn't a lot of people who ever came to speak to us. And it wasn't a lot of evidence. We
Right,
didn't
there
get
was
any
none.
evidence
None.
that any of this stuff was happening. Now, I do want
I
to
mean, you
point
would
out.
think we were living in San Francisco.
Yes,
I
and I
know,
do
yeah.
want to point out that does not mean that we at the Warming Center do not understand that there's impacts to communities because of homelessness.
Of course. You told me
There
that when I
is.
first met you.
In
Of course.
every single community,
Oh my gosh,
there
there's,
is.
there's impacts on this side of the lake too.
Oh yeah.
You know,
There
the
is.
impacts are slightly different, but there's impacts.
But if you're going to take someone's property rights away, there has to be a fair, a
gonna
due
say, yeah.
process.
Better have a damn good reason.
And that
Oh,
is,
MAGA
you
hate
get
due
the
process.
opportunity. You get the opportunity to cross-examine. You
Right.
get the opportunity to see evidence. You get the, and it needs to be a fair and impartial jury, so to speak, or judge.
Right.
And when people are making it based upon emotion or their decision based upon, well, I'll probably lose votes for doing this,
Yeah.
then that is
Yeah, yeah.
not that fair and due process.
Well, it's funny that Mark and Chad are not even running for re-election. You know, and these they see, yeah, woohoo! But you know, they lost, and I think I'm sure they don't care. I think emotionally they don't care. You know, they're like, fuck it. If we're gonna have a homeless shelter, I'm done. You know, it's like
They lost, but did they vote for the resolution? When the settlement came, they voted for that? They said okay to that, right?
Chad
yeah,
did.
you're right.
Chad Graham
They said
the
uncle.
mayor was not present.
Yeah.
They said uncle. Yeah.
The mayor was not present. Well, that was an easy way to deal with that one.
And you know, I don't know. I've always been taught to respect authority. And boy, this really challenged me in doing that.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
However,
Oh, yeah.
I believe in the end of the day that they're tired.
Yeah.
I believe that it got out of control where they should have stopped it, and they didn't. I think there was a lot of factors with that, and a lot of emotion that they had a hard time distancing themselves from.
So, Ed, you guys were just talking about something. I've been thinking about this. Maybe this will be a bit of a rant here.
I like it. I like it.
I was
That
thinking
gets us
about it.
clicks.
I was thinking about it the other day, where it's like I have yet to hear something, a policy proposal from anyone, or someone that'll say what the goal is here, how to achieve this goal of making, reducing human suffering. Because that's what I think of when I see the homeless. I think of human suffering in the open, and I think that the guys like Brad Abel and the like, I think they are not in the business of solutions. They are in the business of furrowing their brow and saying things like,
pull you up by the bootstraps, boy.
and saying, well, this is just the failures of liberalism laid bare, and it just shows the
black people is what Brad
right,
said. Black people were
the failures of
homeless.
liberalism to meet the ever-changing needs of a changing world. Something like now. Brad would never be that articulate.
No.
But
I think what I would say is they don't believe it's their job, but then they need to just get out of the way.
Exactly.
If
And
it's
it is
not
their
your job to help it,
Yeah.
don't judge it. Don't try to navigate it by putting out a community letter.
Government's there to make our lives better. I'm sorry. And I know conservatives hate it. And I know they hate liberals because they always explode our budgets and they explode our deficit. Not true, again,
Right.
but they get the talking points. They have the talking points. They can be the least Christian people but they're Christian.
Right.
People believe in that. They believe that Republicans are going to be more compassionate. They believe they're going to help people more. They're going to save the money. It doesn't matter. There's not a huge difference when it comes to that shit.
well, my complaint about the liberals in all of this is it seems to me like all my friends that live in Portland and Seattle and San Francisco, there's Cal, what's
Heathens.
up, Cal?
Cal's
They
here.
kind of, they know that there's no public housing ferry coming to solve this
you're right.
problem. They know this. They know that it's only going to get worse in the short term when this unchecked homelessness. They know this. So I think what they try to do is they try to fight off the implications of unchecked homelessness, which tends to be more police, more criminalization, more brutalization from the state. They try to fight off the implications by saying things like, oh, it's not that bad, or they say, it's fine, or another thing I hear all the time is, actually, it's good, and you're a pussy if you don't like this authentic urban grit that we have in our city or whatever. And in a weird, ironic way, what they're doing is they're just normalizing this horrible human suffering.
Well, there is human suffering, and if you ask me, in my opinion, our current, our in Montana, our politicians nationwide now, I see no compassion. I really don't. I don't see any compassion coming out of Gianforte, or Sheehy, or Zinke, or any of these people, and they're all very wealthy people. These people do not know what it's like. They have never, ever, in my opinion, and from what I know, have had to struggle. These people grew up fairly wealthy, most of these people.
I don't know.
And
I
they
heard
don't know
one
what it's
time
like.
they had Zinke in a Super 8, and that's...
No way.
Oof.
And
no.
I do have to
That's-
share with you. Are you ready for this?
All right, what do you got?
Okay.
Cookies?
A big funder is the Gianforte Family Foundation.
I've heard that. I've heard
He takes
that.
his personal money,
Okay.
and he has funded the warming center.
Good.
Not completely, but
No, but
very,
still, that's
very
good, yes.
generously. And it is a very structured, and it is very Christian, his family
Right.
foundation.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know the Earth's only 6,000 years old. I mean, that's as Christian as you can get, I guess. I don't know where he's coming from on that one.
But he's doing that, statewide.
Yeah.
Giving to a lot of different Christian organizations statewide. Being
Absolutely.
very strategic with it, smart.
Yeah.
What-
So if we're going to talk bad about him, we got to remember that part.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure, without a doubt.
thank
No, I mean, You know, and I mean, and maybe Donald Trump has given money to homeless people. I don't know. I mean, I doubt it. But I do see a lack of compassion that's gotten a lot stronger in the last few years. Okay, I've seen this
I
MAGA.
have felt that too.
You know,
Absolutely.
it has taken over a lot of our local governments. That this attitude of like, hey man, out of my way. I'm an American. I'm doing what I want. You know, if you can't hack it and you can't deal with it, too bad. You know, it's just too bad.
That's your problem.
Yeah, that's your problem. You know, and I don't know. In my opinion, a problem is that community's problem. I mean, and I don't know how you get people on the same page for something like that. I really don't.
You know, there was a guy that gave a speech to a conference for us once. His name's Tony Gallagher. He's now retired, but he was a federal public defender out of Great Falls. And he said something years ago at a conference. He gave a speech at one of our conferences where he said, and I think about it all the time, he said, the only time you're supposed to look down on another person is when you're offering them a hand up.
Oh, that's not bad.
I
That's
don't know.
not
I
bad.
think about that a lot.
Well, I mean, you also have a lot of selfish people. I mean, I see his society becoming more and more selfish every day. I don't think that's a party thing. I don't think it's political. I just think, in general, you know, we are selfish. I mean, this country, you know, we like to believe we're number one, and a lot of people really believe that this is the best country in the world.
In incarceration, we're number one.
Number one. And I mean, guns kill more children than any disease and any car accident in America. Guns the number one killer of children. But here we are. We're number one. This is the best country to live in. We really don't take care of our homeless people. We really don't do much. We have the money. We just gave ICE how much? $148 billion?
$175 billion.
$175 billion. Okay, then now that is more funding than CIA, FBI, and Homeland Security combined. So, and now they're encouraging people to build their own alligator Alcatrazes in every state. They want states now to start building.
They're talking about 60,000 beds.
And they got money to give communities to build these things.
Right, and it's a policy decision, is what you're saying essentially. Like
we
spend more money on guns and law enforcement than we do on affordable housing.
And Israel.
And if we want
Israel, I mean, if we give $4 billion to Israel,
right,
you take 10% of that away, you could help a lot of people in America.
The last I checked, the federal government's allocation for affordable housing in the United States was $12 billion.
$12 billion.
$12 billion.
Or billion.
Which, I mean, it's a lot of money.
It is,
but when you have $175 billion going to ICE, it's a drop in the bucket.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All these programs that are nationwide take an awful lot of money. They do.
Right.
And $13 billion, it does sound like a lot to us, but how much of that $13 billion, where's that all going? You know, we don't know.
Speaking of budgets, what's the budget for the warming center?
Whatever they can get.
Our yearly budget?
Yeah.
We were just talking more about that today as we're going through a budgeting process and wrapping that up. We're about $600,000.
That's not very conservative, Tanya.
Huh?
What?
And out of that $600,000, you know, I'm getting really rich.
Yeah, well, I can see it.
411.
I can see your husband's bling. He's got the bling on right now. Look at that. He's probably on his super expensive iPhone.
How many employees do you have at the warming
He's
center?
talking. He's buying low and selling high.
On the season.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I brought two of our full-time employees that I really would like
We're
to
going
hear
to talk.
from in a little bit.
We're going to get them on because we're going to talk more warming center. In fact, again, one reason you're on the show too is to talk. Let's talk about what is going on. Like what as a conservative, you voted for this. Are you supporting the ICE stuff? You know what I mean? Or I'm not saying you voted for it. Conservatives did. We didn't see it come. We saw it coming, but not to the tune of this much money. I thought, and I don't think we're showing compassion. You remember this is all MAGA. We're going after the criminals, the rapists, the drug dealers. Totally not the case. Not from what I'm seeing, but of course, I'm watching the news, and that is all liberal and fake. Because it's so easy nowadays to say, well, that's fake. It's fake news. Nobody really cares to check their own statistics. You got people out there saying that, you can't go to Seattle, you can't go to San Francisco. Way too violent. They're very violent. They're not even the top 20 cities of violent crimes in America. Seattle, Portland, and San Francisco aren't even that conversation. But because people are told they are, the fake news, whatever. I mean, only one news source is fake. I don't know how people keep it straight. You know what I mean? I mean, that's why people are watching podcasts, because they really see dumbasses like us talk than somebody they can't trust, because we're very trustworthy.
Right.
Aren't we? But, we're in the direction the country's going. Is it following along with any values that you have? Like when you see, I'm trying to find policies that in this big, beautiful bill and other things that this administration is doing. And, in my view, I just don't see it doing a whole lot for the common person at all, and I see we're creating jobs with ICE, I guess.
That's true.
But, what is there disappointment? Do you think they're going to get better? You think they'll come around?
Well, this probably isn't very popular because you have a very political show, but
Yeah, well, yeah.
excuse me. Yeah, the Warming Center is not a political organization, as you
Yes,
know.
we know that. We have stressed that.
And unfortunately, politics right now is just making my head spin.
Yeah, I bet.
And so it's very hard. I thought we were going to get something different. You know, I thought there would be more compassion than what has come out. I have been appalled by the lack of compassion. So it's not going the way that I thought it would.
Right.
I still do sit in a seat of wondering what's true and what's not true. I think it's very hard to find
That is the
out
hard
what
part.
truth is. And so
It is. And it's on
sometimes
purpose.
it just, yeah, and sometimes it just makes my head spin. And I don't even want to think about it. It's just so overwhelming, especially with the year that we went through at the Warming Center.
God, yes.
I literally I'm in a healing process right now, and I try not to do too much of the national politics. It just it
Yeah.
hurts. It just
It does
makes my head spin. So that's probably not the deep answer that you wanted.
No, and that's just fine. And I don't want to put you on the spot, you know. But
I think there's a lot of people feeling that way. You know, they're kind of nudging back towards the center a little bit
yep,
because
I think so.
you know it's.
I mean, I
it
get
seems
it.
to be across the board.
Prices are
Everyone's
high.
nudging a little bit.
Prices are high. You know, things aren't affordable. And I'm going to tell you, it hasn't gotten any better. You know, he's going to do what was from 90 bills in 90 days or something
like that.
You know, and all these things he's going to do, lower these prices. He just acts like, oh, it's all so easy. And I think a lot of Americans like, hey, America has a very short memory.
Yes.
They don't remember January 6th. They don't even
Right.
think about it. They think Trump's a very funny guy, so why not? And he said he's going to fix this. Well, gas is now like 3 cents more expensive than it was back in December. You know, it hasn't changed. Well, nothing's really changed that much, you know?
Speaking of that, do you remember in Trump 1 when he was giving a speech somewhere and he was president at this point, and the crowd started saying, Hillary for prison, and he shrugged his shoulders and he went, politics is tough business. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. But he promised it. You know,
Right,
he definitely promised it.
He
Well,
promises there's no wall. Hillary's not in jail. They just added $5 trillion to the
to
debt.
the national debt. Yeah, yeah.
It's not criminals and rapists that are getting deported. It's anyone that's brown, even if you're an American citizen.
Yeah, that's
You've
a
been
tough one.
had. The Epstein list is not being released. You've been had.
Well, I think you've been had. I do. I think America's
Again,
been
he's not
had.
the first politician to be
No,
elected on bullshit.
no, and you know the smoke and mirrors that's out there all the time. Like Steve Bannon's a genius at this shit. Keep throwing
really
shit at
is.
people. They're
He
not going to know
absolutely
what to
is.
think. They're going to go after the celebrity. They're going to vote for the celebrity,
Flood
and that's
the
all they're
zone.
going to care about.
Flood the zone.
Flood the zone.
Yeah, but stuff is going to get more expensive. You know, you're saying it's not changing that much.
Yeah.
We're talking about $100 billion in tariffs this year.
Oh no, for sure. No,
You
things
know,
will go
I mean,
up.
they can absorb some of that because they bought inventory up front, but that's coming.
Oh, newsflash. The Trump phone is not going to be 100% made in America. They just said it's impossible. God, another. We just got fooled.
What carat
It's
gold
like the
is that
Who
thing?
song. Got fooled again,
Yeah.
huh?
24 carat?
Yeah, well, that's not going to be real gold either.
Are there any phones made in America, though?
No, fuck no.
There can't be, right?
Look at our fingers. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. I'll put that right there. No, and we're not going to. We were just talking with Andy Fury. He's got some companies in Asia. And, the tariff thing, it's been very confusing, very shitty. It's back and forth. It doesn't stop. And, to a person like me, it's hard for me to have a regular conversation with somebody who voted for Trump, seeing all this stuff going. It just is. It's hard,
Sure.
Because Trump, all the tariffs, all this
please,
shit's
Fred.
throwing everything in a, is anybody want anything to drink?
Yeah, all of one, Fred.
Take a water.
Yeah, I'll take one. Why not? It's getting late.
No, I feel the same way, Ed. It used to be kind of, exotic to talk to a Trump voter in a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
And now I just look at them like cattle and I want to whip them. That's just how I feel.
Well, I get where they're coming from, and people are pissed off about
I do
shit.
too.
There's a lot of people that don't want brown people taking their jobs. I don't think that's really happening.
I didn't want Kamala
at
in the
all.
White House anymore.
No, I did not.
Look, Americans are not going to make iPhones. We're not going to go
No, we're
pick
not.
the lettuce. Only a
No,
few
we're
of
not.
us farmers left.
Right.
That's hard.
These
hard
humble
work.
farmers.
Well, what did somebody say the other day? It was automation is going to take a lot of these jobs. It was somebody in the administration talking about all these farm people are losing. But then Trump came on and said, well, we're not going to go after the farm people now. But what are they doing in California? Totally going after the farm people. You see a guy died
I did
running
see
from
that.
ICE?
Yeah.
That sucks,
That's too bad.
Like I hate it. I got to be honest. I hate it. These
Automation?
stories. And this is farming. Make more automation in farming means we need less immigrants.
So, like, you'll just push a button and a machine will pick the cabbage for you, or
Yeah, strawberries,
I
apples.
suppose, just
I mean,
whatever.
they're already doing it with hamburgers at the
It's
at the
Elon's
deli.
robots can do all of that
you know,
stuff.
that's another thing that pisses me off.
Do they have
about-
sex robots yet?
There will soon. Yeah,
Oh.
It's going to be front of the list.
Another
you
thing
know
that
it.
pisses, while we're on the topic of automation, another thing that pisses me off about AI
What?
is when you see all these stories about this, AI painted this picture or AI wrote this beautiful song, and it's like, no, AI is supposed to be doing my job, so I
Yes.
can paint the picture, so I
Yes.
can write the goddamn
Exactly.
song.
You're
I'm
supposed
stuck
to
at
get
work like
Friday
a
off,
schnook.
You're
Let
right.
AI run
is,
Friday.
AI's writing these little tunes, and I'm still at work. I didn't sign up for that.
Thank you.
Well, AI is going to change an awful lot of
Thank you
things,
for
and it's changing our political views. The bots, all this stuff out there. Like I learned on TikTok, I'm suspended for 10 years for saying retard, and I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm a liberal, but I say
Auto
retard.
mechanic. You
You're
can
gonna get
only
dinged
say that
again.
if you're an auto mechanic.
Yeah, okay, that's right. That's the rule.
Right.
But anyway, I get it. Yes, derogatory is not good. I'm not going to call a handicapped person that or anything. I might call them dumb, but that's about it. Just kidding. I don't know what you do about the automation of this computer generation where we're all fed this information every single day, every minute, and you scrolling like he's scrolling
Imagine
now.
how
We're always
much better
scrolling.
it would be if they
What's
just
true?
shut
Texting your
off
producer.
social media.
If what?
The shut off social media. Just shut it off.
Ryan said that he would do that.
That's
People
what I just
shut it
lambasted
up.
him.
Right, people put me on the cross. I
They
I
did,
said
dude.
if I was president, when Memorial Day hit, I would pull a big lever that just turned off social media, and I said it'll be turned on at Labor Day. Enjoy your summer. Get outdoors. That's like what I say to my kids. Get outside.
I mean, if you were running for office, that would be like.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you would never win. Not at all.
And it goes back to your point where you said it's like, and I'm kind of the same way where I tend to avoid the news because it's like,
Who do you trust?
I don't know what's real. I don't know what's not real. And AI has just made it worse. Where it's like, I look at a photo and I'm like, am I even looking? Is this a real picture? Or is this AI?
They have fake
generated?
AI newscasters now. And it
crazy.
looks like it's Fox. It looks like it's CNN. And people are doing that. Paul Gilman does that shit.
Right.
A local
Yeah,
guy
wherever
does it.
Paul is now.
Yeah, now he's gone.
So we spoke about your budget. You said you had some employees here. I think now's a great time for us to bring them up.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and you guys
All right.
can
Talk some more about the warming center.
Guys, come help.
All right, thanks, Mike and Ryan. You can leave that mic on. Just set it down.
Thank you, guys.
This looks like you brought some stickers. Oh, cool.
Every time I see her,
I'm Sean, by the way. Mike.
Peter, or whatever that is.
Now we're going to get into the warming center stuff.
Oh,
Which
absolutely.
we did talk a lot about it anyway, but I do think it's something that's super important, and it needs to be talked about. We've had you on the show before, and we had it was well before you guys were, if any threat of being shut down. Right? I mean, I don't remember. How long ago was that?
I don't know. The first time,
Yeah,
it
but it was like a year ago.
there was
It
no
was
thought of
before
that
this.
happening
There was
at
no
all.
thought of that happening, and it's funny that it ended up happening, but we're talking. We don't know how many emails the commissioners got. We don't know how many emails the city council got. But I know Ryan Hunter.
I can tell you how many emails the warming center got.
0. Oh, now that's weird. That's weird. All right, what? Sean and
Ray.
Ray. Okay, Sean and Ray, and you guys, tell people real quick what you do at the warming center.
I'm Ray. I'm the program manager there. So I work with Sean. I work in the office, and I kind of run the night shift stuff and the community liaison.
Security.
Liaison. No, and work with the guests on just building a better community, not only outside the warming center, but inside the warming center.
And do you guys even have security? No, you don't. And we're getting a little feedback. He's getting it. He's
We
fixing
don't.
it.
It's we do, but it's called relationships and treating people
I
with
like that.
dignity.
No iron fist, huh?
No,
Oh,
iron fist. It goes a long way by treating people with dignity and building a relationship with them.
And since this law, I'm assuming, leading up to this law, this verdict didn't come in until like October, right? Or November. Was it as late as November?
April. It started way back in April.
started in
and
April.
it went all the way through until September.
September.
And September is when they revoked our
So when
permit.
you were, and then it went to court, and there was an injunction filed, right? So you could stay open. I mean, so there wasn't a threat of closing down for the winter unless they won this case, which I think most people knew they weren't. But I'm assuming there was some anxiety leading up to it.
Absolutely. It was We didn't think we could open. We were worried about people that we had that relationship with, what they were going to be able to do. So it was very challenging. We heard that we could open during the day, but not at night. So having to tell people that they had to leave at night, not have a bed.
Yeah.
And the question is why, and handing out blankets at the bed and at the door because they were just going to have to do their best for the night. It was really hard. There was a lot of anxiety, not just from the warming center,
bet.
but our guests. There was a lot of anxiety.
I'm wondering how much patronage you got from friends and family and stuff, trying to offer help and other solutions, saying, maybe we could take these people somewhere else, or maybe they go to Missoula. I mean, I can see people saying they don't want to shut you down. They understand you're doing a good thing, but what else can we do? Do you get any of that?
We saw a lot of people, because I was working at that time too in the nights, a lot more community members came in and said, hey, you guys need blankets, or do you want some sleeping bags, or what can I donate to help these guys while they're out
that
there
was what I was
overnight?
wondering. After doing this lawsuit thing, did it help donations? Did it help more community people getting involved, knowing that maybe there's something they could lose?
I think in some regards, yes, but there was also, it deterred a whole year of operational progress.
I suppose,
A progress in our program. It took a year of that. And it's hard to raise money when it's a question if we're going to exist or not. So that was a challenge that we definitely were facing.
I mean, but after the ruling, did things get easier for you at all, or because to me it brought some attention to it. I think a lot of people didn't even know it existed. Really.
Everybody
I talk.
does know now.
Dude, I talked to people from South Cal who were like, "Oh, we have a warming center." Well, a lot of people did not know we had a warming center, but man, there is an uproar again. Flathead 411.
There was a lot of anxiety until Institute for Justice. Institute for Justice is a national nonprofit that found our story from the news, and they reached out to us. And Institute for Justice is very professional. Our lawyers came from Austin, Texas, and they, the head lawyer is a Harvard graduate. And they don't just come with lawyers, they come with a complete team. So we had a PR team helping us.
Jeez.
It was for free. It was a gift to the Warming Center. And because that was one of their initiatives, government overreach and property rights.
Government overreach. Now, that is a very big conservative value. Conservatives hate government overreach.
You would think. Because I always thought I was a conservative, but I'm like, either they don't know what that means or I don't know what that means.
Somebody said that the other day because I'm like, government overreach. They're fucking telling us what we can do every single day, and they talk about government overreach, such a bad thing, unless we're the one reaching. Don't look behind the mirror, because we can reach all we want, but the other side can't, because that's all they do. It's like, what? I think we lose freedoms all the time through bills they pass and junk that happens on both sides. It's like, it's all about who feeds who and who, where's everything coming from? Well, it's coming from corporations and money and and that's just what we do in this society, But with you guys, like I was talking before about how, if you get people suggesting other things to do in this, and what are some of the wildest suggestions people had for, fixing this, leading up to lawsuit? Like, what else can we do? I'm assuming people are coming up with some weird, to put them in Missoula or
ship them out.
That was the one.
I've
heard that one.
Yeah, let's use all that funding to move them to somewhere warmer. And it's easy to say that stuff, right? We're helping them, but it's like these people are from here. Their families are from here.
Or put them up in your house if you care so
Okay, yeah,
much
we heard
about
that
them.
one a lot, yeah.
You put them up in your house.
Yeah, yep.
A number of community members be like, well, I put people up in my own house, and I'm like, good for you. I will never do that, but I will work every day of my life to help
I'd trade
people.
a couple teenagers for a couple of them. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Famous last words right there.
I got some dishwasher. I got a gun-dealing dishwasher we could probably trade
There was
out.
a big one because my address is in Whitefish. And people started to realize that, and so there was the big thing. Well, just take them to your house, Tanya. And
a lot of people said to in Whitefish.
Ship them to Whitefish, and that's the reason why it's here in Kalispell, because you didn't want it in Whitefish, and it just got really.
That's brutal.
Yeah,
oh my God. One thing with homelessness here, it's different. I'm going to assume that the percentage of mentally handicapped people in our homeless program here isn't as high as it is nationwide. Because nationwide, it's a high number. You know, it's very high because a lot of these people, they don't know how to rent a house. They don't have the mental capacity to get a job. You know, and if they did, or if they were like what Brad Abel would say, you know, well, why wouldn't they just go to San Diego where it's warm and free showers? They don't have the capacity to do that. And what do you think? Like, how much is mental health of your clients have mental health issues?
Well, I think in the words of Brad Abel, it would be 4-H Club would be the solution.
4-H Club. Did Brad say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
In the newspaper.
But I mean,
Read that.
Our big issue is we're actually seeing, and across the nation, we are seeing the same. Is this not working?
No, just hold it closer.
All right. Oh, hello.
There you go.
There you go.
We're seeing extreme numbers of seniors that are disabled. We're seeing, folks that are, I've been mentally ill my whole life, and now I'm a 65-year-old person, without a case manager. So we're seeing at such a high rate. We had 23 folks over 65 this last year. We only hold 48 people with 2 emergency responder beds, so half of our shelter was a nursing home,
Wow.
And we're getting folks that are not behaviorally able to stay in a nursing facility getting kicked out of those, and that's where they end up, is we're the last resort. Where would they end up? I like to say we're the future group homes of America right now, is because there's one mental health group home in Northwest Montana that has maybe 8 beds, probably 4 if they're following code. And then we're maybe going to get a crisis stabilization unit, hopefully through Western and Aware's partnership.
Yeah.
And that would have 4 beds, 4 crisis beds. So we're talking about 12 people that are maybe in crisis or have severe mental health issues, or it's supposed to have an affiliation with also the opioid abatement trust.
Right.
But I mean, some of these issues they're not going away. Actually, they've changed the whole landscape of what we're dealing with homelessness. Majority of our folks, according to our point in time survey, are disabled.
Mentally disabled.
50-something% are with a disabling condition.
That's the national average then.
Yeah, no, I like to say we could put everybody in a gym. That's an awesome problem to have. That's not something Seattle, Spokane, Portland, Missoula could even really do. They have big gyms, but think about that as a problem. That's not a big problem.
Right.
We can make solutions that can help these people out of their situations, and we're never going to be Portland. I'm sorry, anybody who thinks that we could is not realizing where we live.
We'll never have the great seafood, that's for sure.
Well, it's just not possible. And I mean, that's a great thing. Because
let Missoula be Portland. I'm good with that.
But we're
far enough away.
We're dealing with a different. It's not the guys who could just get a job and get housing in a month. It's months and months of working with people. We've had
it takes time.
Foster case management. We don't have case management to help people, so that's what we're doing now, and that's what we've recognized. That's where I'm the resource manager, Sean O'Neill. Sorry, by the way, but
what do you guys feel about the new jail? Now, I support it when I talked to Randy about it because he said yes, there's going to be rooms for mental health patients. There's going to be. I don't trust them. I don't, because I don't see them carrying an awful lot. But we need this. We need a facility. We definitely do. I don't know where they're going to put. I know they're going to talk about it. I think next week they're going to have the public discussion about it again. But we need something. We definitely need something. Mental health people with mental health problems, they go to jail in Montana. They really don't go. There's no facility for them. All there is jail. And you're definitely making a problem worse. And from a state that brags about their conservativeness and all the money and the budget and how good we do, why aren't they separating with a little bit of that money and helping out people that need it the most?
That's the problem, too, because I worked as a deputy here for Flathead County for 13 years, went through my own personal struggles with addiction and stuff. You look at the jail and the population that's in there, and most of them need some sort of a treatment facility. We don't need a bigger jail. We could have a lot smaller jail if we built the right facilities, the mental health facilities, the addiction treatments, and start treating the healthcare stuff like it's a healthcare problem, not a criminal justice problem.
Yeah, pre-release. Yeah, that's never going to happen again. Those brand new apartments right across the street, they want to put it. And that's a big issue for people is having a pre-release center because nationwide the statistics say crime goes up. what are you going to do?
I mean, we have people come from Butte's pre-release, Missoula's pre-release, Great Falls pre-release, and they come to us because they have nowhere else to go when they're coming back to their
they're
home.
coming to the warming center.
They're coming
they got
back
nowhere
home,
to go.
but they don't.
Back home. They're coming back home.
This is where they grew up.
Man.
You know,
Well,
this is where they committed their crime that they had to go all the way across the state to.
God forbid you put them back here where they're going to get a job and
Right,
have to
and have
follow
their
the
family
rules
support.
and have a good head start.
Yeah, family support, friend support.
Yeah,
Right,
There's
you're right.
no common sense.
Accountability.
There's no common sense, or is it there's no compassion? I mean, are we
Probably
seriously yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, man. I read that Guardian article, and Tanya, you did a great job. Brad, not so much. And we've had leaders in Montana over the years make us like a laughing stock without a doubt. And now the Flathead Valley has been that way, in my opinion. Now, when we have a county commissioner saying the root cause of homelessness is the Black American family, blew my mind. But that's the mentality we're dealing with. That is the mentality. And it's funny that these are the people in power. So what decisions are they making on who they hire to do other things? I mean, if this is their mentality that it's black people or it's people are lazy.
It's about leading without having information, right
Oh,
information, without looking into it, without
facts.
before you put out a letter, come and visit that new low barrier shelter that you are claiming has caused all these problems and attracting all these people.
Well, like
come
I said,
and
a lot of
at
people don't even know
least
it's
get
there.
your information before you lead.
Yeah, but they're not about that. Like, we had Brad Abel on with our mayor, John Malfield. They never met. Never met. They have to deal with each other, you would think, at some time, but they don't. Then we had Ryan Hunter on and Randy Brodell on the same show. I'm like, well, you guys got to know each other. No. Ryan, nice to meet you. Like, wait a second. You're in the Kalispell City Council. You're a Flathead County Commissioner, and you guys have never met.
Well, and
They write letters to each other.
Okay, well, I guess that's like meeting.
I
They're
think a
pen
big
pals.
problem is that the cities don't get along. And I've seen this
Right.
through the process
Which is
of the
stupid.
warming center. And it's because they're not communicating and they're not trying to partner together. And so much could be
right.
resolved in our communities if there was partnering together.
Well, I mean, wife is just so liberal, and they're horrible, they suck, and this and that. I've lived here 25 years. I like it. I don't see our mayor as liberal at all. I really don't. I think he's pretty damn moderate, really moderate, but because he's in whitefish, you get the label. You got the label,
And it's relative, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
you
relative.
got uber conservative other outliers, then the moderate place looks liberal, right?
You're right.
I mean,
You're right.
that's
This place would look very, it looks very liberal in Montana. In Washington, it would not at all. I mean, and that is the truth. But there is this political divide that nationally they're successful in dividing us for sure, and you can see it hitting locally where it's gotten uglier, and there's more just bullshit that we got to deal with instead of people coming together and having the right solutions to the problems that we do have.
Well, it's like homelessness. It's turned into this political issue, and I don't get it. I've always leaned very conservative. It's a humanity issue. It's not a conservative or liberal
and it's kind
issue.
of Christian. I mean, it really is helping people out, and it's an issue I have. It is an issue I have. My opinion, the church could do a hell of a lot more. I mean, look at Skull Church or Fresh Life or whatever the fuck they call themselves now. I don't even know. They got.
Where is your quarter?
I'm going to give you double for that one right there.
That's 2 quarters.
I'll loan you $5.
Hey, I will say, Fresh Life actually just partnered a month ago with us
Oh, did
during
they?
the
Oh,
Rock
they're
This
giving you money
City.
now?
No, they actually did
they
more.
have.
They sweat and tears into it. They rolled up their.
Every year they've given us money.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
Good.
But
And all
not
the
just
churches?
that. But not just that. They come
a good
into the
chunk of
warming
them have.
center.
They
a
have.
good,
Good.
after
Yes.
Neighbors in Need kind of devolved.
Oh, yeah.
Or dissolved. We have seen those individual churches come out and make their donations from whatever they get of their
Good.
weekly
Oh, that's good.
I
tithing.
would say if we're judging on Christian or not Christian, you and the 2 other guests that you had up here earlier, I would just challenge you who you're looking for, who you're looking at to be that leader,
Yeah.
because you're looking in the wrong places, because there is a lot of good Christian work
Oh, of
going
course.
on in our community. And some of it's conservative, some of it's liberal. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be
Yeah.
one or the other.
Like the pastor down here at the Methodist church, he's moving to Helena, and he's a pastor, but he hasn't talked to his brother since the election. And I believe he was a conservative, but he doesn't see much compassion coming out of politics these days, so he just can't. And his brother's completely opposite. He's like, well, the church is moving me to Helena, and he goes, in a couple years, let's talk, because I'm running for office. I was like, oh, wow. He goes, something's got to change. We've got to get along. And I don't know how we start getting along. I mean, I do think, winning the lawsuit has quieted a lot of the talk. You don't see much talk, like Ryan was saying before. And I do think that the people, well, they lost. What are they going to do? They can't win.
I think they just move on to something else.
Okay,
that's what's happened. I don't think it's been
there's
settled.
always something to bitch about.
Yeah, there's always something that they've moved on to something else, and I'm personally very relieved, but we're also ready for it to come again sometime, and it probably
You're right.
will.
You don't
Hopefully in a
down.
positive light, though. I mean, we need solutions. This stuff is not going away, like you were mentioning earlier with the other folks. It's like, this stuff's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse, and if we don't do anything about it, then we're going to keep just eating it.
And that's the future.
Yeah.
We've got to understand that future. If we are the most unaffordable state to live in right now, which I don't think any of us ever saw that happening. I did not see that. Idaho's number 2.
What about number 1 in least paid starting positions, salaries for teachers?
Nurses,
the
physical
state
therapists.
of the 50th states for paying teachers in the nation. So woo, we're winning. We're also number 1 in the biggest growing chronically homeless population, which means people who have been homeless for at least a year and disabled, and that has gone up. We're leading the nation in 2023, 550% increase from 2007, and 330% of that happened from 2019 to 2023.
Right, pandemic.
So we
jumped
jumped half the country in 4 years.
And I think
insane.
I think it's important. We can't rush over what we just talked about. Chronically homeless.
Yeah, that's a term.
That is a length of homelessness plus a significant disability. And that's the majority of folks that we're seeing. And how does that look in our everyday life? That looks the person out on the street that has odd behavior.
Yeah.
Because their crisis is being played out in public spaces. When you and I have crisis, we're within our walls.
Yeah. I go to my mommy.
And what we're seeing more and more, because we don't have the places that people need to go to get well. We don't have those places here in the Flathead. And because we don't have those places, we're seeing the crisis being played out in the streets in Kalispell, because that's where any little service is that we have. And instead of looking at the crisis being a disability that someone is struggling with, we're looking at it's homeless, and we're looking at it as a character. It's a character flaw.
Do you have a quarter I could borrow?
Yeah.
It's figure your shit out, right? I mean, they're like, hey, figure it out.
What's your plan? Because going forward, it's going to get worse. We're not going to see our affordability. We're going to have low wages. We're going to have high prices. We're going to have politicians that aren't going to do a goddamn thing about it. We have to understand this. Unless we do start electing different people, And I'm sorry, that might mean electing Democrats. I don't know. There's one right there. Russell Cleveland's here in the show. He's running against Ryan Zinke next year. Pretty decent guy. Yeah, really decent guy. But I think it does start with elections. I really do. I definitely do. I don't know how you can change that in a state like Montana, because California's done a lot for the homeless. Not enough by any means, but they are very liberal, and they have done things, and they're trying to do things. They're pouring shit tons of money in it. They're putting people in hotels, and they're still getting more of them. I mean,
politics is not going to get us out of this, because politics is too divisive. It's not going to get us out of it. It is not going to get us out of it.
So what gets us out of it? If it's not our elected leaders, I mean, some super wealthy person like Mike Gogan to pull us out of it?
It's a collaboration. It really is. I mean, in other communities, we're seeing much more success in addressing these issues, where they have an affordable housing fund and a task force, and all these folks that are already built into their community's local government, so that they're also they're siphoning funds that are from cannabis taxes or sales tax that they've done for tourism. They're funneling these in other communities Silverbow, Butte,
Yeah.
Billings,
Flathead, we're
Missoula.
taking the marijuana money and hiring Talos Security to
Right.
control our county
Right,
buildings.
and that
What
could
the fuck is that?
I mean, look, and I'd like to boost up what Housing Whitefish and Daniel Sitter's been doing here. I mean, that's the.
What do you think about that program? I love it. I
Oh,
love that the voters
Daniel's
voted
a-
like 80%
Yeah.
to give 10% of our 3% resort
That's-
tax to subsidizing housing for working people here. I think that's incredible.
We should have that in Kalispell.
we should.
I know Columbia Falls wanted to build their own affordable housing. Like, they all want to do this. We just have to sit at the table together and bring the county commissioners and then all the other stakeholders, the developers, the billionaires, the people who are like the movers and shakers of the glue of society, like us, right? We all need to be able to bring our expertise to the table.
Well, there's at least
and
$1
come up with
billion worth
solution.
of boats on Whitefish Lake, on just Whitefish Lake.
Yeah.
I mean, there is money here.
And like every $2 billion like airplane or jet in Great Falls at Mount. I mean, we could just. There's so much funding that we are using the wrong way.
Well, we're expanding the airport, but expanding the airport is not excessively for more flights. It's more hangars for very wealthy people to park their jets, and we're gonna get. I know. Tanya gave her a sad face, like, "Yep, that's what's going on."
I think you hit it with the politics, though. You said sitting at the table together, because you get enough people sitting at the table together, those people are going to vote the next politician in. That's going to actually get something done.
Yeah, well, Russ likes that one.
There's no table right now. There is no table right now.
Yeah,
and we've tried to set it. I mean, I've been our chair of the local Northwest Montana Continuum of Care for Housing Insecurity. It's called Collaborative Housing Solutions. We've had Doug Russell from the city manager from Kalispell representing. What little representation we do have from local government, nothing from the other communities. But, we have all the nonprofits, a whole bunch of community members like, Frank Gardner was someone that has a political tie that was trying to bridge that, help us connect.
Well, he's
that.
not a Republican anymore. Don Kay says so.
Well, hey, there you go. But I mean, like folks like that have been trying. Ryan Hunter has been trying.
He's a
we've
decent
we've
person.
got people that want to sit at the table. It's just getting the
Have
other.
you approached anybody besides Ryan about something like Whitefish is doing, Kalispell, to do something for homelessness and affordable housing? And are you getting any feedback from
We
it?
need Whitefish to come to that table.
And Columbia Falls.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Yes.
I think-
The table has been offered by Ryan Hunter. He has reached
Okay.
out. He asked the mayor of Kalispell to do that, and no response. So we need the mayor of Whitefish to come to that table, and Columbia Falls.
We need Daniel to come. I mean,
Daniel's
he's done a
great.
job.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him on to our executive committee. Hey, Daniel, if you're watching,
Yeah, Daniel.
I'm going to recruit you for the executive committee for collaborative housing solutions here.
I mean, he has
Tomorrow.
done a lot. And this is a fund that they're and also our convention and visitor tour. I forget, it's called the WVCB Convention and Visitor. Well, no, what's it called now? What's it called? What's the Convention and Visitors Bureau called now? Explore Whitefish. So they're giving a lot of money to this, to Daniel Sider. So the money they're getting from restaurants and hotels, there's a percentage of that going into this fund too. So this fund someday could help people into home ownership. It could, if they keep raising this money. And there's probably about 100 people now that they're actually subsidizing their housing for in Whitefish.
Right, and then that new plot of land, or that plot of land that the Housing Authority was supposed to be developing by 2027, that they just, I guess.
Well, somebody stole a lot of money from him, and now he's in jail. I think.
That happens,
It happens.
I
It
mean,
does.
hey, a couple executive directors, at the Housing Authority, but I think they just rolled it over to the Housing Whitefish for them to be the ones that would be the playmakers in that regard. I think we have a question.
Oh, we got a
from the
question.
audience.
Stephen Alexson?
Going back on what you were saying about talk louder.
Do you need a mic?
Yeah. No, I couldn't catch a cold. Sorry. Just going back on what you mentioned about getting Columbia Falls and Whitefish involved in the initiative and awareness and voting in favor of the Warming Center. I listen, by the way, to 96.5 KGEZ radio. Love that. Goddamn right. Like a favorite radio station. Trying to get everyone involved. But as a young person, how do you reckon you guys as an organization are impacting individuals such as myself and my peers? I'm just about 30 years old. Many of my peers are involved in many of the same issues. We can't afford housing. We are getting pushed out and having to search for jobs elsewhere. Like, I'm in the trades. Many of my friends are in hospitality.
He just drove 7,000 miles to get a job.
Well, about 8. But anyhow, that being said, have you thought about direct reform and perhaps advertising for maybe using people like myself and my peers as a advertisement platform for free, say through the hospitality or trade industry? Because many of my peers have been directly impacted, and it sucks. But I feel as if many of us, say between 18 and 30, because that's all I can speak for, we're all dealing with the same issues that you're proposing. And we are, say, 2 paychecks away from being homeless, from being in a position to where we could utilize your services. Have you ever taken that position? Or perhaps made a plan to make a community-centric, which is what I'm hearing from you, forward advance, to unite these communities to prevent or mitigate this issue that seems to be quite apparent at the moment?
Yes.
That's what I got.
I like what you.
Good long. It might be
Weird.
like 7 answers to that.
I'd like.
Yeah. Sorry, my
I
bad.
like what you're
that was
saying
that was a
because
multifaceted question.
it changes the vision of homelessness. It changes the
It brings the
stereotype.
regular person into it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it changes the stereotype because absolutely it could affect any of us. And so putting a different face to that is what you're talking about so that people can better understand that it can happen to any of us.
I'm talking about advertising it to people like me.
Oh, advertising, the Warming Center.
Word of mouth is the best advertising.
Yes.
People like myself were the most at risk, if you will.
Sorry. Do you?
I think
It's
it's
basically
funny.
letting you guys know that this exists and what they're doing.
Well, I've known about this,
Well, you have.
but I love local politics. So.
Just on what you were saying too, my wife and I are born and raised here, and I'll be 50 this year. I know I don't look like it.
Yeah.
But
52.
yeah, for sure.
Wow.
We're probably 2 paychecks
That's
away
amazing.
from looking at the warming center. I think unless you got an uber amount of money here,
Yeah.
most people are.
No, most people are. I mean, because the cost of living keeps going up and up and up and up, and it does. And it's not just Whitefish. It's not just Kalispell. I mean, it's Great Falls. It's Lewistown. It's Billings. It's again, we're the most unaffordable place to live in the country, and I don't see anybody working for us to change that. I don't. I see people like you doing what you can. I'm doing what I can. A lot of our friends are doing what they can, but there's only so much you can do. And getting back to, like, it does take elected leaders, even though I know politics is very divisive and it's just a horrible animal these days. But it's gotta start somewhere. Somebody's got to do something, and a lot of times it is elected politicians, But a lot of them get elected and they say what they're going to do, and then lo and behold, whatever was important to you is on the back burner now.
I had a buddy that went into politics, and he said you go in with the greatest thoughts and ideas and intentions, but then you find out you're not going to get support for anything you want to do unless you just blanket support what they want.
Yeah, and it's sad. It is really sad. Well, we have a president right now that if you go against him and vote against a bill, he's going to primary you. He's going to ruin your political career. In Montana, we have 9 Republicans that decided to work with Democrats to pass some bills, and then
They're not here
the
anymore.
Republican Party said, Don Kay said, you're not getting any money from us now. We're going to primary you. I mean, you're not going to get money. That, to me, it's more than petty. It's abusive. It's like, I don't know if you guys know Tony Brockman. He was a legislator. Sidewalk Tony. Tony Sidewalk. Yeah, just tap on it. It'll work. There you go. Anyway, he worked with Democrats. He got a lot of bills paid. He got a lot of things done. But obviously that did not make the Republican Party very happy. So they primaried him against an 18-year-old kid that beat his ass in that election.
Logan.
I mean, that blew. Now we have a 18-year-old Christian nationalist Lucas Schubert running our as a legislator, and Tony was a good guy. But I see, if the Republicans aren't happy with you, and I'm assuming Democrats would do the same thing, they just don't have to have any power at all, But what does that say? Like you said, when you get into politics, you're going to want to do all this stuff, but then the harsh reality is you better toe the line or you're not sticking around, and that's a bummer.
Do you mind if I circle back to him real quick?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Finish that convo.
And very much, loud what you're saying right there, because that's right on point. But I did want to circle back because the 18 to 24-year-old age range saw one of the most dramatic increases in the last 4 years, as well as the senior population on bookends. We're seeing incredible increases in 18 to 24-year-olds. A lot of folks coming out of foster care with nowhere to go. Oh, wait, go figure, right? But then we're also seeing, a lot of those folks age into 25 to 30 with still nothing in place, still no. And so we're seeing the most vulnerable people of that age group, not even just vulnerable age group. We're seeing the most vulnerable people of one of the most vulnerable age groups. And so that's alarming. The trying to be proactive is always something that we're trying to find. I mean, to be able to have a social media platform that lets folks know what they can do to, be resourceful, but also know what, shelter services are available. Most folks are like trying to avoid the shelter when they're in that age range. They're scared of it. They don't know what it is because obviously they've never been in that situation, hopefully. And that's the scary part is most people, if they're walking through the doors at the warming center, they're just desperate.
Yeah,
they're absolutely desperate. It's not like some of the, I hate to say it, some of the other service providers, the other shelters, it's a little bit more of like a home base. Like do you have another quarter? Like you're, I might say it, you're fucked if you're coming to our place. Like you have tried everything. So
you're fucking fucked.
Yeah. And like to what he's saying, be preventative and proactive. That is the whole goal of that group that we're trying to do. That's one of those pieces is to have education, community involvement, bring those services to people before they need to be in a shelter, right? So that they're aware of them. And that's prevention. That's the community action partnership thing. That's the collaboration that I came over from community action partnership. I ran all their housing programs for 7 years.
Where at?
At CAP.
Where, though? Here?
Northwest Montana. So the 4 counties here, all the Section 8, all the emergency housing. So that's why I came over is so we could find the right housing for somebody. Maybe that's a group home now. Maybe that's an apartment. You're doing better. Let's get you linked up with a case manager. Now we can do a tax credit place with your fixed income. So, it's like we're really trying to be holistic in a sense, or for lack of better words. But the preventative side, like promoting us, we've been in a don't look at us kind of mode for the last year and a half.
Yeah, we're not here. We're not here.
I disagree with that. Well, no, because of the lawsuit, because of things that we've had to not be in the public eye. Because I don't know if you're aware of this. We have people threatening to come in and shoot us up.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying on Facebook. Some 15-year-old boy got jumped by some 16-year-old kids right across from Albertsons in the parking lot, and that guy's response was, "Let's just go shoot him up at the warming center." So things like that are some of the it's hard to be proactive in that when we're dealing with that other end of it. And I'm not trying to make that as an excuse. We need to do better, but we're navigating these situations real time. No rule book or lesson plan or policy and procedure to get through this. So
you're part of something that some people are passionately against, and some of these people aren't all mentally there. And violence is the answer. Violence is the answer for a lot of things for people. It is America,
We all want the same thing. We want to get people off the streets.
You're right.
If we can just come back to that.
Some people don't want it in the right way.
Even the people who were against the warming center, at the end of the day, they just want people off the street.
Yeah.
And that is what we do.
Yep. No, man, and you are, and I hope you guys can keep doing it. And I'm not going to keep you here any longer to take this abuse from our audience, but I want to thank you guys.
Ow.
If you got anything else to say. Go ahead. Yeah, has anybody else got any questions out there?
Noah?
Please, what's up?
No, you got to have one.
Alex. Anyway, what the hell happened, man?
I know. It's just me now.
Oh, great.
Yep, my mic. Oh,
And
no,
Ray, yes.
He's back on, but our batteries are failing. Anyway, thanks a lot, you guys. Thanks for coming here, and we'll do what we can to support you guys and get the word.